Azman, Pengurusi Eksekutif MAVCOM, Datuk Seri Sarafuddin, dan Acting Chairman CAAM, Datuk Syaril. Hari ini merupakan satu detik penting dalam industri penerbangan negara. Sukacita saya nak mengumumkan bahawa Jemaah Menteri pada 11 Jun yang lalu telah meluluskan cadangan untuk menjadikan Pihak Berkuasa Penerbangan Awam Malaysia ataupun Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia sebagai badan berkanun diasingkan saraan dan dibebaskan BBDSB berkuat kuasa mulai 1 Ogos 2025, 1 month from now. Apa maksud badan berkanun diasingkan saraan dan dibebaskan? Ia bermaksud bahawa badan berkanun ini tidak lagi memerlukan suntikan kewangan daripada kerajaan melalui peruntukan tahunan, dan pada masa yang sama ia juga tidak tertakluk kepada sistem saraan kerajaan. Dia dibebaskan saraan dan diasingkan daripada kerajaan. Jadi in other words, dia akan menjadi satu badan yang independen dari segi kewangan dan juga saraannya. Keputusan ini adalah sejajar dengan usaha berterusan kerajaan untuk memperkukuh institusi penerbangan negara dan memastikan Malaysia kekal sebagai negara yang mempunyai sistem kawal selia penerbangan, teknikal dan ekonomi yang berwibawa, kompeten dan menepati piawaian antarabangsa. Seiring dengan keputusan ini, saya juga ingin mengumumkan bahawa CAAM akan mengambil alih sepenuhnya fungsi pengawasliaan ekonomi yang sebelum ini dilaksanakan oleh Suruhanjaya Penerbangan Malaysia MAVCOM. Mulai 1 Ogos 2025, pada tarikh yang sama, CAAM dan MAVCOM akan dirasionalisasikan, di mana semua fungsi kawal selia industri penerbangan termasuk aspek teknikal dan ekonomi akan disatukan di bawah satu entiti, iaitu CAAM. Ia akan menjadikan CAAM satu-satunya badan kawal selia penerbangan negara yang lebih bersepadu dan cekap. Rasionalisasi CAAM dan MAVCOM ini merupakan sebahagian daripada usaha reformasi institusi kerajaan untuk meningkatkan kecekapan struktur kawal selia, mengurangkan pertindihan fungsi antara agensi yang mempunyai peranan sama dan memastikan penyampaian perkhidmatan yang lebih bersepadu dan efisien kepada industri dan rakyat. Langkah ini selari dengan amalan terbaik antarabangsa, di mana negara lain kini mengamalkan model kawal selia tunggal dalam sektor penerbangan bagi memastikan penyelarasan yang lebih efektif. Rasionalisasi ini juga meletakkan asas kukuh kepada CAAM untuk memacu pertumbuhan industri penerbangan Malaysia seiring dengan aspirasi negara untuk menjadi ekonomi maju yang berdaya saing dan inklusif. Untuk makluman semua, langkah rasionalisasi CAAM dan MAVCOM ini telah melalui proses perundangan yang telus dan teratur. Bagi melaksanakan rasionalisasi ini, Rang Undang-Undang Suruhanjaya Penerbangan Malaysia Pembubaran 2024 dan Rang Undang-Undang Pihak Berkuasa Penerbangan Awam Malaysia Pindaan 2024 telah dibantangkan dan diluluskan di Dewan Rakyat pada 26 Jun 2024 dan di Dewan Negara pada 30 Julai 2024. Pada ketika ini, kedua-dua akta telah mendapat perkenan Yang di-Pertuan Agong pada 11 September 2024 dan telah disiarkan dalam water pada 25 September 2024. Kedua-dua akta tersebut akan berkuat kuasa mulai 1 Ogos 2025 bersamaan dengan tarikh penguatkuasaan CAAM sebagai badan berkanun diasingkan saraan dan dibebaskan. Dengan termeterainya kedua-dua akta ini, peralihan fungsi dan tanggungjawab daripada MAVCOM kepada CAAM dapat dilaksanakan mengikut lunas undang-undang secara rasmi. Dalam melaksanakan rasionalisasi ini, pihak kementerian sentiasa menitik beratkan kesejahteraan serta kepentingan semua kaki tangan sedia ada MAVCOM. Sehubungan itu, semua kaki tangan MAVCOM akan ditawarkan penempatan yang bersesuaian di CAAM berdasarkan kemahiran dan pengalaman mereka. Kementerian memberikan jaminan kepada semua pemegang taruh, pemain industri dan rakyat Malaysia bahawa peralihan operasi ini akan dilaksanakan secara terancang, telus dan berpandukan kepada prinsip tadbir urus terbaik. Semua pemegang taruh serta kaki tangan akan dimaklumkan segala perubahan kesinambungan proses kerja dan dengan terperinci pada sesi libat urus yang akan dianjurkan oleh pihak CAAM. Memperkukuh keupayaan teknikal negara. Status BBDSB yang baru ini akan memberikan CAAM autonomi pengurusan yang lebih luas dan flexibility dalam aspek tadbir urus kewangan, pengurusan sumber manusia dan keupayaan membuat keputusan strategik secara fleksibel dan responsif. Ia akan menjadikannya CAAM lebih tangkas, kompetitif dan sejajar dengan amalan terbaik industri penerbangan antarabangsa. Dengan status ini, ia akan membantu CAAM dalam mengekalkan dan menarik bakat berkemahiran tinggi dalam bidang teknikal, khususnya pegawai teknikal berkelayakan, qualified technical personnel, yang amat kritikal dalam menjamin keselamatan dan sekuriti industri penerbangan negara. Selain itu, CAAM dapat melaksanakan strategi jangka panjang bagi memperkukuh daya saing sektor penerbangan negara dan meningkatkan keupayaan teknikal dan operasi sejajar dengan piawaian teknikal dan operasi sejajar dengan piawaian Pertubuhan Penerbangan Awam Antarabangsa ataupun ICAO. Dengan perstrukturan semula ini, Malaysia kini berada dalam posisi yang lebih mantap untuk mendepani cabaran global dalam sektor penerbangan. CAAM akan lebih bersedia untuk memandu pertumbuhan industri penerbangan ke arah yang lebih progresif dan mampan. Ini seiring dengan matlamat kerajaan untuk menjadikan Malaysia sebagai hub penerbangan serantau dan menyokong agenda negara ke arah pembangunan ekonomi yang lebih inklusif, seimbang dan berpaksikan inovasi. Akhir sekali, saya menyuruh semua pihak, industri, media, pengguna dan rakyat untuk memberikan sokongan dan kepercayaan kepada inisiatif ini. Kementerian Pengangkutan dan CAAM akan terus berinteraksi dengan semua pemegang taruh secara terbuka bagi memastikan peralihan ini berjalan dengan lancar dan berjaya. Terima kasih. Okey.
Maksudnya MAVCOM dibubarkan?
Yalah.
Berapa lama tangan MAVCOM yang diserap oleh CAAM?
MAVCOM hanya ada lebih kurang 57 kaki tangan. Semua mereka akan ditawarkan untuk diserapkan dalam CAAM, tetapi terpulang kepada mereka sama ada menerima atau tidak.
CAAM has how many staff? CAAM.
1,436 orang.
Mr. Minister, you mentioned that CAAM will be financially independent after the merger, right? So currently, how is it making money? Is it from airlines and the licensing charges and such?
Yes.
And from these charges, will it be increased? And if it is increased, will the prices be, transferred to the consumers, those who will purchase the flight tickets?
In fact, the charges for CAAM already increased since 1st of January. Okay. These are imposed on the airlines and anyone using our airspace. The major revenue for CAAM is our runs, our air navigation charges, which any airlines, including foreign airlines who uses our airspace. So that charges has been reviewed and increased, and that has contributed to the increased revenue of CAAM. But there is no actual impact to the consumers because that portion of charges to any airlines is just a small percentage of the expenses of airlines in one particular flight. But you have to bear in mind that majority or more than half of this revenue comes from foreign airlines. So those who use our airspace, especially those who have passed through our airspace, especially those who are going towards Changi. So that we have been given very, very cheap services over the years, for many years. Yeah, in terms of pricing, in terms of charges. So we have never reviewed that for more than 30 years. Okay, more than 30 years, since the 80s, more than 30 years. So we only review it for the past 1 or 2 years. In fact, this exercise started during my first stint as Transport Minister in 2019. So I was furious that why are these charges so low compared to our peers. So we are actually providing very cheap services, not to say free, but it's very cheap services for other people, for other airlines, for other users. So it was a review, and it was actually implemented since 1st of January 2025. It was never really in the public domain because it's only involved the airlines and the users. And of course, charges for pilots, licensings and all that also have been reviewed, but that is actually quite minor. So that, I mean, to answer your question, that contributed to the financial independence of CAAM. Okay.
Some may have said that this merger closely mirrors the dissolution of
Sorry?
Some may have said that this merger closely mirrors the dissolution of SPAT in 2018. But despite that, today we are faced with a series of fatal crashes. So how will, what assurance can the government give to ensure that this will not happen in the aviation sector?
I think you have totally get the idea wrong. It's not related at all. You have different contexts totally. Okay, SPAT was dissolved and absorbed into Menteri Pengangkutan under a department. Whereas this is a merger between two agencies, and CAAM is actually a technical regulator. MAVCOM is just economic regulator. It's nothing to do with any. I mean, the dissolution of MAVCOM has nothing to do with anything to replace CAAM's function. CAAM's function has always been there. So in terms of technical regulation on aircraft, on airlines, on pilots, everything was done by CAAM. So how does it related to what you have mentioned just now? So totally it's not related. And in terms of the role of CAAM, right now it has been enhanced. And as far as we are concerned, the merger is meant to make sure that we have just one single regulator. Okay? So that is to answer your question. So totally cannot be comparable. I mean, it's not apple to apple comparison.
Just now you were saying that CAAM will be financially independent or they have started making money. How much money have they started making since January?
You're so interested in the okay. I will just to give you a figure. I think the estimated revenue for this year for CAAM is about 420 million. Okay. Previously, our revenue for CAAM is only about in the region of 100 to 110 million a year. So CAAM cannot survive on its own. So that's why they need at least 150 million to 200 million injection from the government just to keep it running in terms of operations. That has not included in terms of maintenance of our air traffic control towers, maintenance of our other facilities, and also development. So right now, our estimated revenue for this year is about 400 million. In fact, we have collected about 150 million in the first 5 months of this year. So the first 5 months of this year, in terms of revenue, has exceeded the entire year of last year. So that has given us the commitment, given us the confidence that it will be financially independent, financially sustainable. And that is also one of the important condition for the cabinet and for JPA, the Public Service Department, to grant CAAM as BBDSP. Okay. Okay, ada lagi?
Just now you were saying Changi was one of the cheapest. Would you be able to?
I'm not saying Changi. I'm talking about Malaysia.
Oh.
Malaysia was one of the cheapest in terms of the runs.
Okay.
But I'm saying that we are providing cheap services for other people. Because all airlines or all aircraft going towards other airports in the region that passes through our airspace, in particularly I'm saying to going to our down south, have to pass through. They have no other choices. They have to pass through our airspace. Especially those going to the west or coming from Europe, they have to pass through our airspace, all the way from Andaman Sea, right? Going from Andaman Sea, the camps ini, from nearby. Once you enter our northern part, Langkawi, north of Langkawi, all the way down to Johor Bahru. So the entire airspace was actually managed by our air traffic control. So those yang pass through sana, they have to pay for air navigation charges. And I have to mention, just for the benefits of our media, air navigation charges are charged by every country. Okay, this is every country that the aircraft pass through. They have to pay for these air navigation charges. So, for example, if we go to Europe, we pass through many air traffic controls region. So every other country, the airlines have to pay. So this is just actually a very minor payment, very small percentage of what the airlines are paying. So what we have done is that we have reviewed the structure of the charges and the rate of the charges comparable to our peers in the region. It's not exceeding what they are charging. We are still the cheaper one, but it's comparable, and that helps us to increase our revenue for CAAM. So this exercise has helped in terms of, firstly, we can save about 150 to 200 million from government's coffer every year. Okay, so for the next 10 years, we are saving at least 1.5 to 2 billion ringgit for 10 years. Secondly, with that increased revenue, CAAM can be independent. We can pay our technical personnel higher. And that is actually one major factor why a few years ago CAAM was downgraded from category 1 to category 2 under FAA. One of the key findings of the audit is that we cannot pay our qualified technical personnel according to market rate. And that resulted that many of our technical personnel left CAAM. And with this right now, we want to attract better talents, retain better talents, not only as our qualified technical personnel, but also we are also hope to train better air traffic controller and make them more efficient.
How many percentage does CAAM staff, in terms of the salary, how many percent is the increase in the salary for CAAM staff once the merger happens starting August?
I mean, we will have a town hall with them, so I do not want to preempt before we mention to them, to the media. But it will definitely be an upward revision. Okay. From what they are getting right now, there will be an upward revision, because we try to at least give them better salary package, so that, for example, any qualified technical personnel, all these qualified technical personnel, they have years of experience. For example, our CEO here, he was a pilot before. He was a captain. 20 years or 30 years experience, 25 years experience at least as a captain in Malaysia Airlines. He has to take a major pay cut when he's come over to CAAM to serve as the CEO. So how many people will do like that? At least more than 50% pay cut. So with this package right now, with this salary review right now, we can at least pay better. Not to say that we can match the airlines. Of course, we cannot match the airlines. But of course, there's an element of national service. But at the same time, we can give them a better salary package.
Out of the 57 MAVCOM staff, how many have accepted to be part of CAAM?
We will only do this. We will do a town hall in the next few days, and we will officially give them our letter of offer before end of this month, so that by end of before 1st of August, then only we'll know how many will accept. Okay, ada apa-apa soalan lain?
Maybe soalan lain lagi regarding ECRL. Okay, Malaysia Railing recently has raised concern over repeated cable theft along the ECRL alignment, threatening its project timeline. Any concrete action from the ministry to make sure site security and perhaps avoid delays?
Itu yang pertamanya, MRL akan buat langkah-langkah mitigasi lah untuk pastikan keselamatan di site itu lebih terjamin. Tapi saya juga telah menghubungi Menteri Dalam Negeri untuk pihak polis mengambil tindakan yang lebih tegas dalam perkara ini. Kecurian kabel ini bukan berlaku hanya di ECRL. Seperti yang saya telah dedarkan sebelum ini, KTM mengalami pelbagai kelewatan disebabkan dengan kecurian kabel theft ini, dan ia akan diambil tindakan oleh pihak polis. Dan saya memohon pihak polis untuk mengambil tindakan tegas, dan saya telah secara terbuka meminta pihak polis untuk mengambil tindakan bukan di bawah hanya kesalahan mencuri. Ini melibatkan keselamatan umum, Ini menjejaskan ketenteraman awam dan ini menjejaskan national security. So, tindakan yang lebih tegas di bawah undang-undang yang lebih ketat perlu diambil, tetapi saya terpulang kepada pihak polis, kebijaksanaan polis untuk mengambil tindakan. Tetapi kita tak boleh treat this as just normal theft. Okay?
Last week, JPJDC ada cakap yang diorang open to investigation papers over the Gerik bus crash and they are expected to give the investigation to the DPP. Any timeline for that?
Dalam masa terdekat. Ya. Okay. Alright, thank you. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you so much.